Hey, you. You're finally awake.
Clevatess feels more like an animated Western-style high fantasy than an anime. It isn't an isekai, and it doesn't follow any typical or overtired tropes. I could easily see the story being a long-running epic.
I hope we get at least a few more seasons, as they really have set up an intriguing world that seems like it would be fun to spend more time in.
The most anime thing that the show does is occasionally yelling their ability names. The art style felt like a polished, almost retro throwback. It really carried itself through the fight sequences, and they hardly ever used CG other than to fill out crowd shots of soldiers, for example. However, the opening of the first episode confused me for a second because it looked like we had the wrong quality settings or something. It was just so fuzzy. But that's actually the style that they were using for their flashback sequences, so don't let it fool you. And if you skip the sexual violence in the middle of episode 2, then all of your first impressions should be met with good quality work. In keeping with the idea that this felt more like a traditional fantasy, Alicia's life follows the hero's journey method of fiction, which is not called that because she becomes a literal hero in her society, but based on the story beats that we experience as a viewer. She's worked very hard for the strength and power that she wields, but she's also gone through and is still dealing with incredible hardship. And they did a great job of having her do a bunch of critical thinking during her fight sequences without bogging it down for the viewer. There's room for argument on whether or not Alicia or Luna is the real main character at the core of the story. Personally, I think Luna is just a catalyst for the Lord of the Dark Beasts and the overarching global politics. Luna might as well be the One Ring with the kind of impact he had this season, and then sure enough, we almost threw him into the magical fire in the mountain, too. His age leads to a decent amount of baby wailing, especially in the first episode. So if you find the sound of a baby crying to be nails on a chalkboard, it might be a bit overwhelming, but I hate that sound and I manage just fine.
It will be interesting to see if Luna grows into being a bit more of a character in future seasons.
The art that I saw in the Season 2 announcement did not age him up at all, but hopefully further in the story they would. But we can't forget our titular character. Clevatess's beast mode design is really spectacular, so I'm sad that we have to look at him as Clen for the majority of the show. The Dark Beast designs in general were really well done.
I wish the show had more screen time for the Dark Beasts.
He was voiced by 2 different actors depending on what form he was in, but the Japanese audio performances carried the same essence in both forms, which I thought was really cool. Both actors captured his commanding yet detached attitude perfectly. The world building exhibited here was really good too. It felt very grounded, and every piece of information we were given truly served a purpose during the story. Like, it wasn't just that we were introduced to a map of all the regions or something used as a one-off.
It was nice to have a show finally introduce a bunch of regions and have most of them actually get used.
We were all embroiled in this power struggle for the Forge, including the other Lords of the Dark Beast, not just the humanoid groups, and we saw it all on screen as the viewer instead of only being told about it.
They did a great job with the fight scenes and really varying everyone's fighting styles based on their background and what they had access to at the time.
Oh yeah, the use of the environment was excellent. I thought the different types of magic systems were a lot of fun. It was really interesting to hear about the forged weapons and how the heroes would utilize them, as well as seeing the various abilities that Clevatess exhibited. And the added type of magic that's not on a mana system will be interesting to delve more into as the story continues. Season 2 has already been confirmed, which is exciting, but dear God, it looks like the characters are going to school.
Hopefully it's a good school, because we should be seeing the characters actually learn about the magic of the world, as neither knows much about how to use or how it works.
I feel like school or academy arcs for stories that are not fully grounded in such a setting from the very beginning are always ruined by them. And I had pictured when Clevatess asked to be Luna's magic teacher that this would be more of a private tutor situation like Nobility would normally do. Fingers crossed that this setup doesn't become a weak arc because Season 1 was an 8 out of 10.